This is a very easy block. It consists basically of flying geese. If you know how to cut flying geese, then you've got it made. If not, we'll work along and get them made. There'll also be a PDF, a downloadable PDF with all the sizes on it. And they consist of 12 flying geese with 24 wings, and there are 12 1 3/4 squares and 4 strips, 8 inches by 1 3/4, and that's the whole thing. So we start off with the flying geese. They are 3 1/4 by 2 inches. We just attach the wings. They're made a little bit larger so we can trim them back. So we do one, trim it, press it, do the other side, and then we trim it back a little bit. There, we've sewn one wing on, now we trim that, leaving 1/4 inch seam allowance. We press this now. We've pressed that open, now we add the other wing. I shall return. There, that's wing number 2 done. Just the same way. Now, we're going to trim it a little. We're going to leave a 1/4 inch seam allowance at the top. And I'll try and level it up at the bottom. Now I trim it back, putting that on the top at 1 3/4. We trim the bottom. Now it's meant to be 3 inches wide, so we put a line at the bottom just to make sure everything's straight, like that. And we've got just a little bit to trim off because we made it 1/4 inch bigger each way. Gives us some leeway. And that's it. 12 of those. I'll go off, make myself a cup of coffee, and then I'll do those. I've done half of these. They're ready to be trimmed. I would like to say that when you make these, it's better to start here rather than here because that's thicker there, and if you start to sew a point, it can be pulled into the dog plates, so it's better to start where you've got a more solid section. Right, that's one wing done. I'll attach the other and they'll be able to fly, and trim them back, of course. Back to the sewing machine. I'm trimming what seems like 1,000 of these. And then I'll press them open and trim them back to the proper size. I always hate throwing away the little triangles because I think they could be good for something, but they're not. Not this size, they're too small. But I give them to someone, all the scraps to someone for stuffing toys, so it doesn't go to waste anyway. This is probably the least interesting part of the whole block. Just have to make sure you don't fall asleep while you cutting 12 of these. Right, to the iron. See, if you do the trimming back an eighth of an inch in each direction, it fixes up these little dodgy bits that sometimes happen, because there's room within the thing to cut that off where it's not even. Most of them are all right, but sometimes it happens, and it just gives you a chance to straighten them up. Right, we've got all our bits together. There's a 3-inch square for the centre. There are our geese, our 1 3/4 squares, and our 1 3/4 by 8-inch strips. So I'll start to put it together now. Right, this is it. It starts with a 3-inch square in the middle, and then we work out from there. The best way to do it is to sew those together, those together, those together, and then work from there. So sew those together so they can then be attached to that. I'll do it bit by bit anyway. It's better to start off by sewing the core pieces together first, 3 rows of this, and then sewing them this way. I've sewn that seam in and those seams out. Now that's the centre done. We sew these two together at the side and put them that way, like that. Right, that's the centre done. Now we sew these 4 together, those 4 together, and attach them here. And that's just a bit about the finish of the tricky part of it. Now it's just the border. You just sew those 3 together, those 3 together, sew that to that, and then sew that to that. And it's finished. Bit of a trim up. Well, that's it. 10.5, 10-inch finished. It's amazing how different a block can look with different fabrics. Totally changes it. I'd prefer this one most of all. It's nice and gentle, which is great. Anyway, that's it. The Mitre Block, the mighty Mitre Block. Well, I hope you get something out of it, and I hope you try it. Thanks for watching. Well, that's it. Another day, another quilt. Another quilt bites the dust. And I'm working on the next one. I just like fiddling with the bits and seeing what comes out of it. Well, anyway, it's time for tea now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.